Being baptized as a storyteller, I have to live up to those expectations, and I'm going to share two things today. Eventually, we'll come up with some meaningful realities that I have come to understand throughout this, I would say, about 35 years of career. So, being from Bombay, from a modest household, it was not easy, but there was always mommy at home. My mother had the maids that helped her in all those chores that were taken care of. So after a small stint at a job, when I went overseas, the reality really struck, and that wasn't easy. Needless to say, to measure up to the expectations of your life, to make ends meet, there were lots and lots of changes that had to be embraced with a smile. Not easy. Cleaning toilets, painting, scraping elbows, climbing underneath motor cars. Everything was something worth doing, because there was a lesson at the end of that chore. Throughout this thing, I was reminded of a typical expression, and many of us know that as LKK, Log Kya Kahenge. Interestingly, I was doing this alone, so it didn't matter much, except when I was joined by my better half after about a year. Interestingly, the dynamics changed. Being a student with a constraint to work only on campus, I took up a job in the cafeteria in a McDonald's. Amazing place to work. Every darn thing had a procedure. No wonder they are benchmarked in the management schools. Interestingly, about 4 days, I was stuck on a register, and everybody that I had remotely seen in university went by, and I had to grace them with a smile, obviously, and say, "Good morning, sir," or "Madam, can I take your order?" And every time I did that, a voice told me, what would my parents think, my friends think, my colleagues think, my neighbors think. It wasn't easy to adjust to that, but I still went on. Now, about 3 days later, to live up to the expectations of McDonald's, wherein you can't be idle, you have to always do something or the other, we suddenly had a streak wherein I didn't have anything to do. And one of the managers there saw that and quietly came to me and said, "Sanjiv, give me a sweep and a mop." Now, there was no shame in sweeping and mopping, but to do it in a cafeteria where about the average attendance is about, I would say, 200 people, okay, even though they're not patronizing McDonald's, the LKK took over. And that's when I decided to be a little smart, because it was not easy, since I was a graduate student, not a school-going child. So I said to the manager, "Could you show me how?" There was means of probably escaping that routine. But the manager wasn't baffled with that kind of response, and I was studying this whole situation. She went, "Oh, I'm sorry. Looks like you don't know how." And you better believe it, there was a procedure for it too. And she took me to the back of the store, got the broom and the mop, and she actually went through the whole sweep and mop process that time. And she did the whole store, and then finally said, "Now you know how it's done." And that's when something lit up. And the point I'm trying to make is something that is so alien to different cultures, and that is dignity of labor. I was initiated into this beautiful lesson. And that was the first story I wanted to share. And the second thing was, I had a buddy while I worked there. His name was Jude. Now, Jude was homeless. Now, this process called homeless comes with a lot of different connotations. I often wondered, when he showed up to work in McDonald's, how come this guy's uniform was so spiffy? How come he was so presentable? Where did he even take a bath? And being homeless is not easy, but something that really stood out about Jude was an amazing, amazing positive presence. And that is something that was everlasting. And I guess we all respond to the question, Badhiya. I always use something too, and I have learned over all these many years, and people that know me wonder, because every time they say, how's it going? I say, wonderful. And somewhere in there I took this lesson from Jude, and he probably took it from somebody else. But Jude was an individual who always talked about the two choices he could make. You know, I asked him, how do you do it? Every single day, every single moment in life. How can you be so positive? And his answer was, Sanjiv, I don't know about you, but I always tell myself I have two choices. One, wake up in the morning with a bad mood, or then tell myself, I'm going to be good because this day is better than yesterday, and it's going to be better than even tomorrow. It keeps me going. I'll tell you one thing that happened with Jude. One fine day, unfortunately, Jude left the back door open, and some guys came in, and whatever happened, he probably tried to go through some of the procedures, and he was completely, I guess, surprised, and he panicked, and Jude got shot. Not easy. He was in a bad shape when we discovered him. He was rushed to the hospital. And this is where I wondered, how could he keep his positive attitude? So when asked, hey, what's going on in your mind? And Jude said, well, that door that I accidentally left open. And as we were whisking to from the triage to the emergency procedure room, it was obvious that everybody felt something was wrong. Something was so wrong that Jude felt it. And in his, I would say, agony, Jude heard one of the guys out there say, excuse me, sir, are you allergic to something? And Jude's response was, yes, bullets. And it still is so fresh in my mind. How can somebody keep such an attitude? It was his attitude that stood out. Next thing, in that laughter, everybody kind of fought down, and he said, hey guys, I know you guys are all competent here, but when I came in, I couldn't help noticing that every one of you were looking at me with such a solemn face that, is this guy going to make through this? Is this guy going to live? And I'm telling you, I have two choices. My choice is, I want to live. So operate on me as if that's what you're going to give me, that gift. Jude lives. Jude lives with remnants of those bullets in his body even today. We keep in touch because I use the magic jack, and we're still in touch. But what I want to say here, what stood out is what I want to share with you. So every single time when people ask me, how's it going? How are you doing, Dr. Sansgiri? And my response is, wonderful. People often go, even today, huh? Yes, even today. So if I ask you guys, how are you guys doing? What are you going to say? Wonderful. One more time. How's it going? Wonderful. Thank you very much. These are the two things I wanted to share. Dignity of labor and the attitude which is going to give you that platform to make the best among the two choices you always have. We all have it, and that is the meaning of life for me. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.